That was incredible. Really, lately, the electronics have been baffling me for the last good 2 weeks. Anyone have any insights about it? Let me know because normally everything is just flowing very nicely for me, but alas, here we are today, Friday. Welcome to the Sanctuary Tea and Energy Circle. I hope you can all hear me very well. Um, I'm just going to clear my field with what I've just been going through for the last 20 minutes, trying to get into the right spot here and be present. So here I am, and here you are. Welcome. Take a sip. Today I have a matcha tea, homemade matcha tea, to give me that more calming little boost, a little bit more calmer than obviously full caffeinated coffee. So let me know what you're drinking today, what you've brought with you today. And before I hopped on, managed to get on, what came to me today to talk about is healthy energetic boundaries and how life experiences or connections with others can be asking us to develop healthier energetic boundaries. So a few years ago, I had made a podcast. One of the episodes was exactly about our energetic boundaries and the invisible bubble that we have been taught or told by many before that we should imagine a bubble around us, a bubble that protects us. My show was about, or that episode was about, how I felt that if we are always imagining this energetic bubble wrap protecting us, not only is it protecting us, but it's also kind of blocking us. It's a possibility to block us from interacting with one another energetically, which I think if we do that enough, it defeats the purpose of us being here in a human body and interacting with others if we energetically walk around closing ourselves automatically off from others, stopping any sort of also beautiful connections we could have with others and the world around us. So I think the key is learning how to actually strengthen our boundaries, our healthy boundaries that say, I can interact with you, I can interact with you, I'm not going to interact with you. And it's all right. We don't have to feel guilty for saying or energetically presenting that we are not going to interact with that whatever is coming towards us. We are allowed to have boundaries, especially if we are energetically sensitive peoples, beings. We We are here in a body, but we are, my belief, we are, for example, energy, spirit, source, this little point of source, focus of source energy in this, your body. But it does not mean that we need to be available to and for everyone else. We don't need to be available for whoever chooses themselves to interact with us. We are also allowed to choose who and with what we want to interact with. But the question is, how do we develop this strength? I think first it is the knowing this is what we are allowed to do, just like others are allowed to decide if they that they in that moment make the decision to interact with us or attempt to interact with us. We are allowed to say no, stop. And it's a no, stop from our power center, which imagine it's coming from your belly area. Women, our bellies, our hips, our center, that we feel that there is a power there, a wise, powerful essence there, who is also in a way like I like to imagine, warrior. For me, it's kind of also accessing my masculine energy, the one who protects me, my innocence, which is also inside, my feminine energy, my more vulnerable energy. I speak about this topic because it has been an extremely strong topic that I had to journey through in my life. Um, I experienced multiple times of boundaries being crossed. I experienced many times the not being able to speak up for myself or not feeling that I could speak up for myself. And I felt like let's say a lost puppy, when a puppy, and I'd say can give the great examples because we have now two little four-legged ladies in our lives since about a year, exactly a year. Um, when they get into that state of submission and flip over onto their back and show their belly. I'm very, very cute. I'm very, very cute. Please don't hurt me. Please don't yell at me. Please, unfortunately, don't hit me. Please, I'm going to do everything in my power that will make you like me and not want to hurt me. We can make a stand from our power center. We can feel strong in our power center. So, right now it's Friday. I would suggest, if you're open to it, to bring some focus. If this is a topic that you've worked with or are working with or through, journeying through, I suggest to focus on feeling that power. If there is an instance, a memory that you feel, it kind of brings you back into a feeling of my energetic boundary is not feeling strong. Tap into that while calling in your power from your belly. And yes, I am invoking this power. Breathe a few times throughout the weekend, upcoming days. Feel yourself activating that power. Feel yourself allowing it to feel its strength. And while you're imagining the situation that may be having you question, you know, is this a healthy boundary? The answer is no. Think about it while you're bringing up this power within yourself, while you're tapping into your power. And mentally, visualize yourself, hear yourself, see the whole scenario of now I am saying no to this situation. Now I am saying stop to this situation. We don't have to be fully angry. If anger comes up, of course, and you have the moment to let it out, go ahead and let it out, the moment and space to let it out. Do your thing, let yourself go through the process, but you are now invoking your inner warrior, your inner protector, your part of your authentic being who has got your back, who is keeping you safe, who is making a boundary that is now respected. I think when we do an exercise like this, also let your intuition flow into what is needed in this situation, what you're visualizing, what you're tapping into. Let your intuition guide you. Trust your intuition. You will develop a healthy energetic boundary. You may then, after doing such an exercise more often, like practicing the sound and feeling of the words of no and stop, that they feel strong when you say them, you will then notice when new situations come into your life that may attempt to cross boundaries, like, oh, can I sneak in there? You may notice that you are able to more quickly say no. And if you were like me or similar to me, like before, when I would try to make a little boundary with someone and I would say a no, I would kind of feel guilty about it. You may notice that now, after doing this kind of exercise for yourself, this little practice for yourself, that you don't feel guilty. There's no need for you to feel guilty because you are allowed to have a healthy boundary. I'll share a story with you about the time when I was not aware of the healthy energetic boundary and I had just learned Reiki. I began my whole Reiki journey. As I was going through my level 1 and level 2, there was so much energy flowing through my body. There, like my clairs, my senses opened up immensely. They turned on. So I always had a little bit of a energetic sensitivity as a child in my teenage years. But when I went through my learning Reiki, everything was just like, and I felt everything. I felt so much. I also felt quite vulnerable, open, too open, as all of this new, as all of these kind of new channels were open inside of me, within me. Um, I felt vulnerable with the outer world. So in that time, I was working in a bar. Um, Sometime later, I was then working at a big hotel where we had hundreds of customers. At that time, I was at my most sensitive. And I remember when I would be going to the train station, there was often times where I was feeling a lot from the people who were also waiting for their train. And I was a little bit in freak out mode because, again, I was feeling quite vulnerable. I was feeling almost like exposed. And I would notice how certain people would just be attracted or magnetized to just stand right next to me. And I would try to move, go sit on the bench, then, for example, but then the person would, a few moments later, follow me to the bench and sit down next to me too. And I realized how it is that I'm feeling. I'm feeling so vulnerable. I need to, I need to change something. Soon after those kind of experiences happening often in my life in that time, I learned about the idea of connecting to my inner power from my belly area. Of also, if I'm walking around in public, for example, that I walk around not just with like my whole waist area feeling extra loose, kind of not balanced, like very flowy. I learned that I should or I could strengthen those muscles, for example. So, as well, like after childbirth and everything, carrying a few babies, childbirth, and everything, most likely our waist area um, also feels a little bit less strong. You know what I mean? So I learned to focus on strengthening those muscles also while I'm walking around to get them to be like this instead of like this. And when I realized that when I walk around with my waist, hips, etc., in their strength, it also was helping to change how I felt while I would be walking around in public or interacting with others in public. So I would then often find myself having to remind myself, oh, strengthen your middle. And I can have lovely interactions with whomever is standing in front of me. Lovely and healthier interactions. No boundaries crossed. The people who we are encountering or exchanging with unconsciously are also feeling where something is weak or feeling weaker or feeling vulnerable within us. As soon as we strengthen that, they're also feeling that that is strengthened, that that is strong within us. So these kind of wobbly, boundary crossing interactions, you will notice will start occurring less and less. I hope you could feel that. I hope this helps. It's a beautiful exercise, and I think a lot of us sensitives or empaths could really, really benefit from something like this. Let's see if there's anything else in my notes that I want to touch on. No, I have somehow touched upon every point that I wanted to talk about today regarding energetic boundaries. If there's anything else you would like to add about healthy energetic boundaries, add it below. Join the conversation. Let's talk about it. Of course, there are like tools. If you use crystals, for example, if you find a crystal or read up on a crystal that helps you with boundaries, energy, feeling safe. I don't remember exactly which one it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for example, like black tourmaline or so, I don't know exactly what is written that that one helps with. But the importance is like if you read about it and you have this crystal in your hand or you put it in your pocket and you're like, this one is supposed to help keep me feeling safe to block out junk. I think that even your own intention, the intention that we set, helps immensely. Our intentions can carry so much power. So it does not necessarily have to be a crystal that someone else says, this crystal is for this and this and this. If I wanted to do a practice like that, I could decide, for example, that this little tool is going to be symbolic of I feel protected today. And I put it in my pocket and carry it around with me. I feel good. My body feels good. The people around us, whoever we're going to interact with, are going to feel I feel good. I feel strong. I have that little tool in my pocket. So we can use tools, absolutely. I think tools are a part of like if you do a ritual, if you do rituals on your altar, for example, it's all about the intention. We are setting an intention. We have incense, we have sage, we have crystals, perhaps, we have feathers. And so these items stand for ourselves certain things, whatever we intention that that stands for. For example, a feather calls in the energy of wind, of air, the movement of air. A stone stands for the connection of earth. Incense, sage. I think sage itself can also stand for the connection of earth for myself. But when we light it, we are then invoking as well the power of fire, of burning through whatever needs to burn through. The feather, burning through, and the wind carries it to where it needs to be carried to. For example, if you are someone who regularly uses rituals, I would love to hear what kind of rituals that you are comfortable sharing with, or um, ritual tips. Because for me, I know a lot of little bits of information of many different things, but I have not deep dived into the information because I've been called to listen to my intuition more. I'm not saying that someone who does rituals or uses these tools in rituals is not connected to their intuition. It's just for me, with all of the different bits of knowledge that I do know and have not dived deep into, it keeps me in the moment to kind of figure out what is my flow in this moment. I do every once in a while feel called to use an incense or a sage cleanse. Rituals obviously can be very, very beautiful. Just the intention from here, the intention from here, the intention invoking as well our connection to our earthly experience, and so on and so forth. So, again, I'm really sorry that I got on here like 10 minutes later, but I'm here. And we have now come to the end of this chat for today, of the sanctuary tea and energy circle. If you have any ideas of topics for next Friday, let me know below what you would like to talk about, what you would like to hear about. Let's do it. I'm wishing you all a beautiful weekend and a lovely rest of your Friday.